if you read the Islamic sources, most of which were written in Arabic, the lingua franca, they divided these seas, they speak of the 7 seas, but they also divided the lands according to the commodities. So we have got the land of Zanj, East Africa, is the land of blacks, whereby they bought slaves into, for example, into Basra, to silt, to clean the silt, the salt in order to make the rivers navigable.
Keep them,
Yeah, in the 9th century, the famous Zanj revolt, whereby they couldn't take that kind of life, and they rose against the caliphate. And it was something like Spartacus, very organized. But they failed at the end, and they were smashed by the caliphate army. Then we had the land of pepper, India. The land of incense, southern Arabian coast. The land of the spices and gold, Sumatra and Java. This is how they divided the lands. And as you said, trade has been going on for centuries, for many, many centuries. In and out, looking for one commodity then the other, and selling it to the rest of the world. This peace and harmony, to some extent, because of course peace and harmony, men is men and human beings human, there must have been some clashes over the centuries, but not as significant as when the Portuguese entered the Indian Ocean. That harmony was somehow damaged. Things were changed. In order to be able to trade, you had to have a cartera. A cartera was a license, a permit. So all the many Arabians, Persians and Indians had to abandon that long trade that they learned from their fathers and grandfathers into following the Portuguese pattern of trading.
So Europe imposed its own law.
Yeah. And then, of course, it was imposed by the Dutch, and with mocha, the coffee, and so on, and the British and the French to some extent.
At school, we are told that in 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered America. History books tell us that Europeans circumnavigated the world, discovered Australia, and much more. Yet they were already following trade routes developed centuries before by Muslim seafarers. The techniques by which they tracked the stars, measured the depth of the ocean and the distance from the shore, were developed by Islamic sea captains. The maps they used were based on those drawn earlier by Muslim cartographers. Muslim traders and seafarers had developed deep links with India and China long before Europeans ever appeared on the scene. And as we have seen, Muslim seafarers largely lived in peace with their counterparts from what are now Indonesia, China and India. When the Europeans finally arrived in the Indian Ocean, they relied at first on Muslim pilots and navigators. That did not stop them creating a monopoly on trade in India and China, which excluded Arab seafarers who had been sailing these seas for centuries. Soon they were carving out colonies, and rather than peace and harmony, the Portuguese, Spanish, Dutch, French and English began fighting each other to control the trade routes. The great contribution of Islamic geographers, seafarers and mapmakers was excised from the history of these European powers. Today we should rescue the contribution Islam made to the knowledge of our world. It is hidden from history, but it is one we should celebrate and ensure that it's known to the world.